Hello guys and welcome to the Love Island Season 12 2025 rankings, and today we're going to be taking a look at all of the contestants on this year's Love Island who have made it such an incredible season, unmissable television. Everything was dramatic right up until the last minute. I genuinely don't think I've seen a season of Love Island like this. Usually we get past Casa Amor and it starts to dip a little bit. Everyone starts to get comfortable in their relationships and it gets boring, but not this series. Oh, there were villains, there were heroes, there was the big three, and today we are going to be counting down all of the contestants. Now, we have got a tier list. We're going to be going through them. I'm going to be giving you my honest thoughts and feelings on every single person. I'm going to try and remember their names because some of them, they're not exactly the most interesting of people. So they were here for like 2 episodes and then they left. So I haven't really got much to say on them. So either way, hopefully you guys will enjoy. Let's get in. So we are going to start with talking about what these are on the side. So as you can see up the top, we have Iconic, the best person of the series. This is usually reserved for one person. We'll see how that goes. Then we've got Let's Be Exclusive. This is my faves of the series, the ones that made it entertaining, the ones that I was rooting for, the ones that I wanted to see go far. Then we've got Can We Go For A Chat? Someone that I'm like, you know what, you had a little bit about you, you were entertaining, I enjoyed you, but maybe you went too soon, maybe you went too late. I'm not sure what's happening here, but either way, I liked your vibe. Getting pied? Well, I think that's fairly self-explanatory. I mean, at the end of the day, these are the people that they were just kind of there. I didn't really enjoy them, but they made waves. They got me very, very heated at times. But equally, I enjoyed their journey and I enjoyed seeing them on my TV screen. Then we've got boring, sloppy, lazy, which is obviously a Dance Moms reference, but very iconically referenced by Megan in the show to talk about Yaz. These are for people, I will preface this, who are just a bit boring. They didn't have much going on about them. I'm sorry. The sloppy and lazy is just the reference, but it's really boring people. Boring people who are here for like 2 episodes and then left. Didn't really have much to do. Bye-bye. Then we got dumped immediately. People who, they should have gone home a lot earlier and I would have forcefully removed them from the villa myself. Those are the categories, and our first contestant is Sophie. Yeah. I can't really put her any higher than this, than the boring category. This is also going to double as like people who were not there for very long and didn't really have much of a time to make a mark. But yeah, sorry. You were literally gone after like 24 hours. Not even that. Like 5 hours. You were gone immediately, and I don't understand why they did that. And then I don't understand why, when they brought people back, they didn't bring back the people who had like 2 minutes of screen time. Why did they bring back? Well, I know why they brought back certain people, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But unfortunately, Sophie, you just didn't have much going on about you. I'm really sorry. You seemed lovely, but yeah, that's about it, Sos. Melisha, we're going to have to put her in Can We Go For A Chat? I mean, the way she ended Meg so early on in that conversation, the way she was not taking any bullshit from Dijon immediately, that was incredible. I was just impressed. I was very, very impressed the entire time that she was on our screens. She came in, stood on business, went, hey, yo, Dejan, I like you. You're my kind of person. And then Dejan was doing his little like, yeah, baby girl, I got you. And then all of a sudden, Meg comes in. It's like, no, my boyfriend. We'll get more into that a little bit later. But yeah, I really liked her. I'm gutted that she went as early as she did. She left on day 9. She was in the villa for 4 days and she left such a permanent mark on that villa. You gotta respect it at the end of the day. You gotta respect it. Then up next, we have, I don't even remember this guy's name. Will? I just remember you being a little bit boring, I can't lie. You didn't really have much going on for you. This was the guy that came in during the sleepover. And he was trying to get to know Emily, I think it was. And Emily was like, no, my Tommy. Oh, Tommy, he'll be waiting for me back at the villa. And I was just like, that was the worst Welsh accent, by the way. I'm really sorry to anybody who is Welsh enjoying this video. Apologies, I can do a better Welsh accent, not at 10 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, I feel like he was just a bit boring, not really much going on. Caprice and Poppy, meh. Again, I'm going to put them in getting pied because they at least had a little bit more screen time. I think it was Caprice was the one that got pied by Dijon, but honestly, that was so many weeks ago, I don't really remember the sleepover that well. But either way, one of them got pied by Dijon, the other one got pied by Harry. No. Yes? Maybe? No. Potentially. Unsure. But either way, these two didn't really have much going on for them. I'm not going to put them in boring, sloppy, lazy because they were entertaining while they were in the villa. But did they get pied? Absolutely. Did they cause drama? A little bit. We'll see how it goes. Then we got Shay. I just didn't rate the bloke, I can't lie. I just didn't rate him. I found him quite just annoying. I also thought he had no personality whatsoever. So when Helena came back from the sleepover and he was like, yeah, I've been dumped. Soz guys, bye-bye. I was like, yeah, fair. Honestly, fair and valid. Because you actually are just... What were you given? You were given nothing. That's exactly it. And also, you had like a little weird thing with Yaz that just made me feel a little bit uncomfortable. So, yeah, you know what? You can stay there. And speaking of staying there, it's Ramel. I mean, this guy was moving mad at that sleepover. Absolutely moving mad. I genuinely couldn't believe it. I thought he had a good thing going with Alima. But he did not. He was all over Poppy and or Caprice. I cannot remember which one it was. But either way, he was all over them. And then came back and was like, yeah, Alima, I may have just like kissed and cuddled in bed for the last 2 nights. But like, I'm still here for you. And then when she stood on business and was like, nah, I'm not having it. Suddenly, she's the villain. Oh, well, I didn't like you anyway. And then he gets sent home. That's called karma. So... I don't know what to tell you, mate. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, up next we have... Was this Ryan? I'm going to put him at the top of boring, sloppy, lazy. Purely because he came in literally... I'm fairly certain he arrived on day 23, dumped day 24. What do you mean he was in there for 24 hours? What do you mean? That's not fair. That's not okay. What? At least give him a couple of days to try and find a connection. And I feel like if some people weren't so hung up on their stupid little romances, Shakira, with Harry, then I feel like we could have potentially had something going on here. He seemed entertaining. He seemed sweet. He seemed funny. He just didn't get the time to shine. And that's the case for a lot of people in this category. They just didn't get the time. Next up, we have Alima. What an icon. What an absolute icon. Held herself perfectly. She was in there for only 24 days. I say only 24 days. That's well over 3 weeks. But I feel like she left such a lasting mark on the villa and I really enjoyed her. I actually had a great time getting to know her. I had a great time seeing her stand up for people. There was a moment where she decided to couple up with Ben and I was thinking, this man hates women. So what are we doing here? What are we doing, Alima? What's going on? I don't understand what's going on because you stand on business. But now you're on Ben business. And I don't know how I feel about that. But either way, you were very entertaining. You were very, very nice. You just had such a great atmosphere around you that nobody seemed to have a problem with you ever. And you stood on business with Ramel. So I've got to rate you for that. I have to rate you. This guy and this guy. I mean, I don't even remember the white guy existing. I think his name is Chris. Did he even exist in Casa Amor? I quite literally do not remember him in the slightest. Like, not even a little bit. Martin, I remember a little bit more because he was the awkward kisser. He was trying to get to know... Who was it? I can't remember. He was trying to get to know somebody and they just weren't that interested. And it was a shame, but is what it is at the end of the day, innit? So, these two, I don't know. They just didn't really give me much. Boring, sloppy, lazy. Yeah, sure. Not really much going on. Really, the sloppy and the lazy is for the editing team. The boring is for them. That's how I'm rationalising it at the end of the day. But yeah, they just weren't that interesting. And I have to say, not the greatest Casa Amor people. But this year, Casa Amor actually had so much going for it. Because there were only, out of the, what was it, 6, 12. There was 12 Casa Amor people that went into Casa Amor. And only 4 got dumped. That means 8 of these motherfuckers ended up back in the villa. That is absolutely mental crazy. I don't think I've ever seen a Casa Amor like it. Genuinely crazy. Then we have Yaz. Oh, she was another one that got pied. Same with Rio. Rio stood on business when she came back into the villa. She let people know that, like, oh yeah, Harry was literally coming for me and being like, yeah, baby girl. No, that's Dejan's line, sorry. My bad. But either way, Harry was chatting her up. Yaz, the whole thing with Giorgio, oh god, it really broke my heart. It really upset me because I was like, they had such a decent vibe going, and then I just don't think he was feeling it, and he didn't want to do the same thing to her that he had done to him by Helena, where Helena kind of brought him back and went, actually, now I'm not interested in you, bye-bye. Enjoy your Love Island experience, I'm off. Whereas he didn't want to do that, and he didn't want to waste Yaz's time, because at that point, it's harder coming in from Casa Amor and trying to recouple in the villa, because people are already in their relationships. There's not going to be much swapping and swapping and swapping, so there's not going to be much going on for her, so probably best that she went home there. Now we've got, I will start with Emily. She was in it for a lot longer than most people, and I would still put her down here in the boring bit. Oh my god. The only thing I remember about her time on the show is the fact that the entire time in Casa Amor, she was like, oh, I really think that Tommy's gonna come back. Oh yeah. That was, again, really terrible. But you know what I mean. It's one of those things where she was just so misguided, but I feel like she was using Tommy as a meal ticket. I never felt like her feelings for Tommy were genuine. I felt like it was a partnership out of convenience, considering she was with Connor, he was with Megan, then Connor and Megan got together. So it was like, oh, okay, guess I'll get with Tommy then. Like, I never felt like it was genuine from either of their sides, to be honest. I didn't really get that from them. I mean, Emily seems like she's really sweet. She seems like she's nice, but I have to put her in boring because I never saw any of her personality out of Tommy being upset over Connor and then being Meg's little lapdog. Do you know what I mean? So I didn't really get much from her. So she's going to have to sit down here, sadly. Then we have Giorgio. He's going to go at the end again. We have a chat. I will say, not the most interesting bloke, but did he handle himself very well? Absolutely. Did I appreciate the way that he handled situations? Absolutely. And I just thought he was a stand-up bloke. So he gets a little bit of a bonus point there. Really, really enjoyed him. Had a fantastic time seeing him. Just absolutely incredible vibes from him. Absolutely incredible. But up next, we have Ben, and he's going right at the bottom. Like I said earlier, this man gives off energy that he hates women. Absolutely hates women. That the fact that he sees them as objects, and the fact that in the Casa Amor villa, he was basically like, oh, Dejan, yo, you have this girl tonight, I'll have her tomorrow night. Excuse me? Sorry, do these girls not get any say in this matter? Do they not get to participate in this agreement? Nope, we're just going to claim one and we're going to bed her. That was basically the vibes of what he was saying. And it's just uncomfortable. The way he screamed at Yaz and had a go at her that one time just because she decided to stand up to him. Again, gives me bad vibes. And his behaviour outside of the villa, from what I've heard in the final, I mean, did we expect anything less, Andrada? Not particularly. You saw all of this on TV and still wanted to couple up with him. So, I don't know. It is what it is at the end of the day. It is what it is. But yeah, I just didn't appreciate him on the show. I didn't like him. I found him very uncomfortable to watch. His sort of like mumble talk. I hate the mumble talk. The mumble talk is my least favourite accent. Because, enunciate please. You're on TV. I need to know what you're talking about. I don't need subtitles. Do you know what I mean? I shouldn't need them. But I do. Because you're not making sense. So yeah, I just didn't really like him. But Andrada, you know what? She stood on business. She stood on business, and she was only at one movie night. She wasn't at the Grafties, but she was at movie night, and she let people have it. And I was here for that. I was kind of here for that. I was here for it. I thought she was very entertaining. I felt like she should have stayed in the villa longer, and the only reason why she did go home is because Ben was her partner, and if Ben wasn't her partner, I reckon she would have stayed a lot longer. But she was just very entertaining. She was fun. She brought drama to the villa, and I really, really liked that. What more can you ask for at the end of the day? What more can you ask for? And even when she came back in and delivered her verdict to Megan DeJean, she stood on business. I have to say, she was there and she was ready to take the punches and roll with them and deal them back. And she did. So you know what? Big up her. I'm impressed. Now these next two, if we're talking about in the villa, I reckon they'd be a lot higher. But because of their behaviour outside of the villa and the way that they've been talking about people, I'm putting Tommy in getting pied. And I'm going to put Lucy in dumped immediately. Now let's talk about Tommy first. Tommy, whilst he was on the show, seemed to be a lovely bloke. I feel like he actually didn't put a foot out of line. He was very sweet. He was very nice. He seemed to be all in on Megan. Megan was not all in on him. So then he went all in on Emily. And then he went to Casa Amor, met Lucy, and was like, you know what? I have a better connection with her. And I can't blame him for that. Him and Emily were not exclusive. They'd been together, what, a week and a half, if that. So I feel like, therefore, we have to look at this very objectively. And we have to say, Tommy was a great guy in the villa. Outside of the villa? Well, he's spoken a lot about how Shakira's a very nasty person. And I'm like, excuse me? What? He obviously got dumped by Shakira and Ty. But you have to understand the implications of that bottom three. There was you two. There was Connor and... I don't remember who he was with at that point. Connor and whoever, who Shakira was getting to know at the time. And then there was also Harrison and Lauren, who Tony was getting to know at the time. So therefore, the only person that she could have got rid of without upsetting people, obviously, in hindsight, she would have got rid of Harrison and Lauren. But at that time, the only people she could have got rid of was Tommy and Lucy. And I feel like the only reason why you're upset you got dumped is because you wanted the money. Okay? Let's not be pretending that you're here for anything other than the money. Because apparently, this is what we're doing now. This is what we're doing. We're not even here to find love. We're just here to couple up and try and get to the end and win. What's that all about? What is that? Okay. Sort yourself out, Tommy. I didn't appreciate you outside the villa. Not at all. All your interviews you've come across as very bitter. And I didn't like it. As for Lucy... I mean, I feel like she seems like a very lovely person. Don't get me wrong. She seems lovely. Genuine? Nah, I'm sorry. You can't be sending voice notes to your mates being like, oh yeah, first of all, Meg's a prick. And second of all, oh yeah, Tommy, I think he's really nice. So I'm going to go in there, target him, get with him, and then we can win the money together. Sorry, you're coming into Love Island with a game plan. And then when that game plan gets leaked, and then you get dumped, and you're like, oh, guys, oh, whoopsie. And then Tommy's defense was, oh, I've said plenty of stuff in group chats that if it got leaked, I'd look like a bad person. I don't feel like that was the sort of response I was expecting from you, Tommy. I feel like you need to stand up for yourself a little bit. She came into the villa specifically to couple up with you so you could win. And it didn't work out for you. So... yeah, I don't know. I like game playing. Not on Love Island. Not on Love Island. If the premise is that you're there to win money on a show like Destination X, on a show like Big Brother, on a show like Survivor, if the object is to win, fair. But you're here to find love. Winning is a supplementary thing. There is no added bonus to winning. You should be here to find love. Love is the biggest win out of this entire competition. Okay? In fact, it shouldn't even be called a competition. There shouldn't even be winners. Okay? Well, I don't know how they would do it without winners, but you know what I mean. It's just ridiculous. But yeah, I'm sorry. I don't like game players on this show. They're jarring. I want you to be authentic. I want you to bring the drama authentically. Okay? Thank you. Next up, Lauren. And... okay, I'm going to put Harrison at the top of dumped immediately. Purely because it started to get bad. But... for the first couple of weeks, he was entertaining. I was enjoying his little lovable rogue sort of... he was doing XYZ. He was doing too much. He was getting with Helena. He was playing Tony. I was like, okay, this is drama. And it's not mean at this point. Then we come into Casa Amor. And we meet Lauren. And Lauren seems like a lovely person. They did her dirty in that promo picture. Let's just say that. And I feel like they got to know each other, and I saw a spark between them. And I was like, okay. Obviously, my girl Tony, not happy about this. But then my girl Tony was getting busy with cash. So, you know what? Fair game. So Harrison is obviously going to bring Lauren back. And I'm like, yeah, cool. Tony's bringing cash. Sick. Then Harrison starts his mind games. And this was where I was like, up until this point, I was not defending him. But I was like, I find him entertaining. And then the mind game started. Oh, I thought about you every day, Tony. Oh, I really liked you. Oh, we could try again potentially. And then you're getting in Tony's head and you're fucking her over. And then you're going to Lauren and being like, nah, I was never for Tony. I'm always for you. And then you sleep with her twice. Twice, not once. Twice. And nobody tells Tony. And then, once you've slept with her twice, you then run back to Tony and go, oh, it was always you. It was always you. I just wanted to say this before we recouple, just in case. Sorry, you are playing a very dangerous game here. Because you've now got two women, one of which you've just slept with twice. The other one, who genuinely seems to be falling in love with you. And you're playing them both off against each other, thinking the other person is the villain, when it's really you. That was crazy. Honestly, the fact that Women's Aid had to get involved is mental. Absolutely mental. What do you mean in the big day and age of 2025 we're having to do this? But equally, was it great television? Arguably. Arguably it was great television. Up until they slept together. Then I was like, this is getting really dark and twisted and I don't like this. I really don't like this. I was here for the drama until they slept together. That's when I was like, yeah, you've taken things too far and you're still playing them against each other? Yeah, that's crazy. Pick one. In fact, not even pick one. Pick the one you just slept with. Huh? I'm so confused. Anyway, Lauren, I feel like she lacks a lot of self-respect. The fact that she let herself get played by Harrison and then was told that she's being played by Harrison, and then Tony picks him because he's been playing both of them, and then when she's dumped, she has the audacity to sit there and be like, please, Harrison, please come back, please leave with me, please leave with me. And if it wasn't for the fact that the producers probably had to step in and be like, yo, you've got a lot of heat on the outside, you need to go in order to rescue your self-image. You need to go in order to try and salvage some kind of a public image. Do you know what I mean? Some kind of a public image, you need to go now. That's the only reason he walked. Because there's no way you're telling me that he wasn't going to try and lay it on thick again with Tony. There's no way that you're going to tell me that. Oh, God, yeah. Honestly, these two, crazy. Just, honestly. And, like, as much as I appreciated the drama, these two just blew me away by how messy the whole situation was. So, yeah, honestly, not great. Next up, we've got Emma. I'm going to put Emma up in Can We Go for a Chat. Was she messy? Absolutely. Did she come in and go, hey, Harry, I know we've had a previous relationship, but, like, let's try and rekindle it so we can win the money? Absolutely. Did I believe any of it? Nah. I don't think she's silly enough to go back there just yet. I feel like a lot of it was for show. I feel like a lot of it was to try and get Helena to realise, like, yo, this man ain't worth it. I wonder almost whether that was her tactic to come in and try and find somebody, but also to set Harry up in a way that would expose him to other people in the villa. I'm not sure. But there were moments where I was like, she's right on the money. She's coming in and she's telling everybody exactly what the public are thinking. Because that's one thing that's really jarring about the Love Island villa. We had Meg and Dejan just believing that they were golden the entire way through. And then Emma comes in and they did like the podium challenge. And they just got absolutely rinsed by the public. And Emma was like, yeah, I told you that it was going to be like this. And they were like, nah, my Meg, sorry. I just feel like we have such an undeniable connection. That was Harry and Helena, obviously. Oh, we have such a strong connection. We're boyfriend and girlfriend. And I'm like, yeah, boring. Yeah, boring. I'm sorry. Emma was right on the money. She came in. She told you exactly what she needed to. I felt like there were moments where I was like, but I feel like for her public service, I have to put her up in that category because she was entertaining. Next up, we have Boris. I'm so sorry, guys. I've got no feelings about Boris whatsoever. He's just boring. He was boring. I feel like he got a bad edit as well. He got the kind of edit that was like, Is he there? Oh, I'm going to pop up and say that I really want to talk to this person and then disappear off into the background. I feel like he had a good start. And then once he got into the villa, it kind of just wavered from there. It didn't really go anywhere. He didn't really do anything. It was just boring, sloppy, lazy. Next up, we have Billy Kiss. Gonna put her up in the icons. I feel like we're noticing a theme here up in this icons. People who stand on business. People who call other people out. Especially Dejan. And I just feel like, yeah, Billy Kiss was great. She was very entertaining. She was very funny. Her awkward flirting was hysterical. The way she kisses, brilliant to watch on TV. Just a really, really stand-up girl. Genuinely lovely. Genuinely nice. Wonderful. Amazing. Yeah, just incredible human being. So guys, this is where we're going to start getting down to the really nitty-gritty, juicy contestants of Love Island 2025. And I'm going to start with the worst person to be on this show this season. We've had Ben. We've had Ramel. We even have Dejan and Harry to still talk about. But the categorical worst person on this series was Blue. And you know what? If Blue hadn't have returned, I reckon he would have been up here. I reckon he would have been there just for the sheer audacity of him turning to Shay when he was getting dumped and being like, I'm not going. I'm not going. And then he came back in and was like, I told you I'm not going. I mean, he didn't quite sound like Jimmy Carr, but you get my point. Just a jarring individual. This man, the worst person I've ever met in my whole life on TV, on Love Island. Well, maybe not the worst, but just a categorically, genuinely unpleasant person. He didn't bring any drama to the house. He tried to start plenty of drama, mind you. He tried to start drama with Tony, with Shakira, with Yaz. I feel like he came in knowing that they were very popular and wanted to try and tarnish that reputation somewhat. And he didn't. He obviously didn't. They were the top 3 of the series. They were iconic. They were amazing. They were very entertaining. And then you get people like Blue who just come in and want clout. I don't know. I don't know what your vibe is. You came in, you were like, I'm going to stand on business. I'm going to stand on business. And then you got pied 3 times in 24 hours. By 3 different women. Helena, Yaz, Angel, all said nada to you. No. Bye-bye. And you still had the audacity to keep on throwing digs at Tony. Who does this man think he is? Yeah, you can stay at the bottom of the list. I don't like you. Bottom now. So now we have Little Miss Pick Me, Helena. And I'm going to very tentatively put Helena at the bottom of Can We Go For A Chat? Was she a mean girl? Absolutely. Was she entertaining? Absolutely. I found her incredibly entertaining. I found the way she approached her relationship with Harry frustrating, but she made must-watch television. Watching her slowly but surely realise that he was doing her dirty, was having chats behind her back, was pulling her for a mug. It was deeply upsetting, actually, and I felt myself really feeling sorry for her towards the end. I found her entertaining. Listen, I'm gonna hold my hands up. She's up here. She could be much further down, but like, I did find her entertaining, and I just don't really have much else to say. I liked her. I thought she was very entertaining. I don't feel like she was as egregious as Meg in the terms of like, she never really got into arguments with people. She was quite chilled. She was quite laid back. I think that if she wasn't friends with Meg in the villa, she actually would have been a lot more tolerable at times. And she would have been more entertaining. I actually think she would have been good friends potentially with Shakira and Tony if the whole Harry situation hadn't erupted as it did. But you know what? I give her credit where credit's due. She is one of the people that made this season so unmissable. And you have to give her credit where credit's due. Next up, this is a person that I kept on umming and ahhing about, but I'm going to put Connor in Can We Go For A Chat? There were moments where I was like, this guy is a mug. And then there were times when I was like, ooh, this guy actually is standing on business and is actually standing up for somebody. The moment where Shakira had a meltdown because of him, it was unpleasant to watch. It wasn't particularly nice, but I think that they just needed to work out that there's a spark between them, but they need to be friends. And I think that was good that they worked that out. But equally, he stood up for her in the last couple of weeks. I was impressed with that. There were moments early on where I was like, ooh, he's getting messy with Megan. But you know what? Again, no one was exclusive at that point. You got to play the love game at the end of the day. And I feel like he did. He was very entertaining. And that does lead me on to Megan. Because Megan, if it was when she was first on the show, she would be down here. But she came back. And as much as I didn't like her coming back, I think she improved her status. So I'm going to put her here. I'm going to put her in the getting pied thing because, like, I could have taken her, I could have left her? Could have left her. But equally, I feel like she came back and she boosted her image a little bit. She made sure to keep Megan and Helena in check, or Megan and Helena in check when she came back. She was standing up a little bit more for Tony, Shakira, and Yaz. Maybe that was part of the gameplay. Maybe that was part of her being like, yo, these guys are popular on the outside. Don't get on the wrong side of them, etc., etc. But I do feel like she probably saw the way that she was being portrayed on TV. She probably saw all the hate she was getting. And she decided to fix up, come in and be like, yo, this isn't actually me. I just potentially got a bad edit. I don't know. I said this to a friend. I said that I feel like they're going to show you in a very negative light if they want to show you in a very negative light. You could say 101 positive things in a day, but that one negative thing that you say, that's the thing that gets shown on TV. You really have to remember that. So as much as some of these people were absolutely detestable, some of them character flaws, like Ben, when he just doesn't like women. But with what's her name, Megan, I feel like she's a better person than she was portrayed on TV. And I do stand by that. Now we come to these two. And I don't even know where to put these two. Part of me wants to put them here. Right? Because these two were the villains of the series. Okay? And I use the term villain in a very pantomime-y way. Okay? I do not mean that they are genuinely evil like Blue. I do not mean that at all. What I am going to do is I'm going to put them in Let's Be Exclusive. Because, okay, and I've got a very good reason for putting them up here, okay? I think they were the most frustrating people in the world to watch on TV. However, this season would not have been the same if these two were not together and were not boyfriend and girlfriend. My Meg, my mug, okay? I'm sorry, but they would not have been as entertaining if they were with different people, because they were a united power couple. And Dejan was always going on his, oh, there's a new bombshell, let me get to know her, string her along for a little bit and then cut ties. As much as that was frustrating to watch, he was very rude to people. I felt like it didn't cross the line from sort of bad behaviour to detestable behaviour, like with Harrison, when he was sleeping with somebody but still stringing along the other girl. Does that make sense? At least with this, they seemed to have a united front. I'll give them credit where credit's due. They seem to have a decent connection, but I just don't know whether it was the way it was edited, but it just never came across that they actually liked each other. Or it never came across that Dejan actually liked Meg. So, I don't know. And that's just my opinion. However, I have to put them this high up purely because they were, without a doubt, the people that made the series what it was, along with some of the other people that I'm going to talk about later. But I have to put them this high up because as much as I disliked them and I was actively rooting against them, this season would not have been the same without them. Having that adversary to your favourites and seeing them continue to survive, even though you're like, I want them to go home. And then that satisfying moment where the ex-Love Islanders come in and they're like, yeah, we want to send you home. Even though it's who has the weakest connection, they still sent Meg and Dejan home, which just tells you so much, doesn't it? Tells you so much. So honestly, I have to put them up here just for the fact that they were great characters on this show, but not the greatest of people. If I had my way, they'd be down and dumped immediately, but I can't do that to them purely because they made this season 10 out of 10 and they didn't cross that line like Harrison did. So next up, we have Angel. Boring, sloppy, lazy. I mean, listen, this season ended on day 58 and she came in on day 38. She was in there for 20 days. 20! I do not remember a single thing about her. I physically could not tell you anything about her. Yeah, I'm sorry, I literally know nothing. She became Meg's lapdog replacement when Emily left, when Megan left, and then when Meg came back, and when Lauren left. Like, she just became another one of those people, do you know what I mean? And I've never felt like her and Ty were like 100% genuine. I always felt like she was like, oh yeah, I'll go with Ty because he's in a friendship couple, and then kind of made it work. And it felt like he was falling for her, but not necessarily the other way around. I don't know, this is just my opinion. But yeah, you were in there 20 days and I've got nothing more to say about you. That's mental. That's absolutely mental. Sort yourself out. Anyway, next up we have Ty. Ty's a stand-up bloke. Honestly, when he came back from the villa, from the Casa Amor, I just got good vibes from him. He seems lovely. He seems genuine. Didn't put a foot out of line the entire time he was in there, which is hard. I will say it's hard in the Love Island villa to keep a clean sheet like this, but he did, and I was very impressed with him. Again, he came in on day 29, and I feel like I didn't learn too much about him. Obviously, he wasn't in a relationship with one of the big six, I'd say, being Harry, Helena, Shakira, Tony, Yaz, and Megan Dijon. Okay, big seven, then. Maybe eight? I don't know how many names I said. But either way, he just got enough for us to know him and enough to make us go, yeah, he's nice. But apart from that, not really much going on. Anyway, next up, we have Jamie. I got to put Jamie up here, and I got to put Yaz in Iconic. I mean, when Yaz came in, I was like, ugh, who is this girl? Who is she? She's so weird. I don't get her vibe. I don't understand. Why is she sitting like this? Why is her back so straight? Now, Yaz GPT, iconic. Absolutely iconic. She made this series so iconic by just being herself. By just being her awkward, clunky self. It just made her so endearing. The fact that she was just so sort of like, yeah, I want you, kiss me now. I was like, rah. And then when she went to Casa Amor, met Jamie, and pretty much fell in love, I was like, yeah, I'm rooting for these two. These two have a genuine love story. The whole child situation, that's not for us to comment on. Okay, I've seen a lot of people say, oh, they're not compatible because they don't want to have kids. Listen, there are conversations to be had about that they need to have in the privacy of their own home, and they need to discuss that. If that turns out to be a deal breaker, cool, chill. That's not up to us to discuss, and that is not for us to speculate on, so therefore I'm not going to talk about it. But either way, those two are just genuinely some of the best people to ever been on Love Island. I mean, Jamie, could he potentially be top 2 blokes ever on Love Island? Because this man dealt with this kind of situation really well. When Yaz had a problem with him grabbing everyone's asses, he was like, yo, I've heard you. I'm really sorry for my behaviour. Won't happen again. When he had a problem with her, he came to her. Yo, what's going on? They sorted it out. Their communication, 10/10. Incredible. Amazing. So I have to give them credit where credit's due. Next up, we have Harry and Shakira. Now, I'm going to put Harry in Let's Be Exclusive. Again, Harry never quite crossed that line from bad behaviour to detestable behaviour. Just like Meg, just like Dijon. They were villains that you wanted to root against, but then Harry would show himself off to be like, oh, I can actually be quite charming. And I was like, and when he is with Shakira, he is actually a completely different person, just like he was saying. And I'm like, oh, damn it. I hate that I'm actually starting to like you. I just don't think I liked him and Helena together, because it really did feel like they were being pushed together out of Meg and Dijon just wanting their friends to be like couples. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what it felt like. And obviously they wanted to actively root against Shakira. But yeah, honestly, Shakira, what a lady. In fact, I'm going to put her above Yaz, because there was so many times in this villa where I was like, she's going to quit. She's going to quit. She's going to leave. There's no way she's surviving this. There's no way that she is making it out of this with her mental health intact. But she stayed strong. Her breakdown was heartbreaking. I literally found myself almost in tears watching her. The way she handles herself in confrontation. She's 22 years old. She's younger than me. And she handles herself like she's been on this planet for like decades. Like decades more than she actually has been. She is so mature. She knows what she wants. Do I think it's going to work out with Harry? we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. I feel like Harry, you don't get any chances with Shakira. You've had all your chances in this villa, which is not good for you on the outside. But either way, Harry, you made this season 10 times more entertaining with your escapades. Escapades. And Shakira, you are just an elite human being, an absolute elite gem, and I love you to pieces. You were great to watch on TV. I found myself actively rooting for you in every single situation. I supported your rights. I supported your wrongs, which I'll have to admit, there weren't many of them. So, you know what? Fair game. But that does leave us with Cash, who is going to go at the end of Iconic, and Tony, who's going to go at the top. Now, let's talk about Cash first, because Tony's obviously my favourite person of the entire series, but let's talk about Cash. This man, best Love Island man ever. Period. Period. Okay? This man held himself with such high respect in my brain that I genuinely didn't think it was possible for a Love Island man to reach that level of height. Do you know what I mean? When he was in Casa Amor, I was like, yeah, he seems chill. He seems nice. He seems great. Then he came out the villa and he was into the main villa, and obviously Harrison was making some snarky remarks and he said something back and I was like, oh, Cash, there's a little bit of fire here. And then when he broke down and AI managed to show him crying somehow, AI's getting really real these days, guys. AI's getting real. That was a real moment where I was like, yeah, this man needs to win this show. This man is the only acceptable man that needs to win this show, because the way that he felt about that situation and the way he handled himself, he never got angry, he never got upset, but he stood up for himself and he didn't allow himself to get disrespected. Now, some people may argue the fact that he took Tony back is a sign of disrespecting himself. I disagree. People make mistakes, especially when certain individuals are being gaslit, okay? And I think he recognised that. And I think he recognised that Tony was apologising and out of a genuine place in her heart, and he forgave her. And these two, bro, they're in love. They're in love. They are absolutely in love. And I love that for them. I am genuinely so happy that they won. They deserve the world. Amazing, amazing, amazing. I'm actually gutted that I didn't do like a series on this for my channel, because this season's been like 10 out of 10. And every other season that I've started doing has been like boring as fuck. So yeah, I'm sad that I didn't do this series. But either way, I'm doing it now. Cash, amazing. You stand up. You're amazing. You're incredible. Yeah. Tony, on the other hand, has been on the biggest journey of everybody. She came into the villa on day one, and they were like, oh yeah, first American on Love Island UK. And I was like, God, the last thing we need is the bloody American in this mess. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh God, what are we going to do with her? She'll be out in a week. God, she's so boring at the first moment I met her. Yeah, okay, I hold my hands up. I was wrong. She was the best person in the entire series. The way that she dealt with things, the way she stood on business, the way that she dealt with confrontation with Meg, with Helena, with whoever, was incredible. She's got such a way of talking eloquently that I just didn't expect it. I really didn't. And she's only 1 year older than me, I want to say. I think she's 24, 25 maybe. Genuinely, she seems so sophisticated and it's incredible. Her mum has been doing the rounds on TikTok. Love that woman. Love, is it lip glossless or something like that? I can't remember exactly. Whatever. I know it's lip gloss something. But either way, she's an icon. Tony, the whole Harrison situation, you had me frustrated. Week 5, week 6, I think it was, whenever Casa Amor was finished and you were going back to Harrison, you had me frustrated, but you dragged it back at the end. You grovelled, you got down on your knees and you begged Cash back. And you know what? It worked out for the best, because you guys genuinely do work together and I do genuinely like you together. So, you, yeah. I mean, the fact that your movie night clip was just you being iconic was enough to make me go, yeah, this woman's winning. This woman's got to win. Just a stand-up woman. She made mistakes, but she owned them. She apologised for them. She moved on. And that is exactly what you want to see in the Love Island villa. So, that was a very, very long ranking. That was 38 of them, I think. I think I got all of them. I might have missed 1 or 2 of the more boring ones that didn't make it onto my list. But either way, I think that is every single one of them ranked from this series. Let me know what you think. And once again, if you are watching currently, and you're like, why are Meg, Dijon and Harry up at the top? I've told you it's purely based on how much they contributed to the series and not how they are as people. Because like I said, none of them crossed the line from bad behaviour to despicable behaviour, in my opinion. There were moments where they were straddling that line, but they never crossed it like Harrison did. That's why Harrison's at the bottom. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe. And Love Island won't be back until All Stars in the new year. So we'll see if that one's entertaining, and maybe we'll be back for another ranking soon. See you guys later. Bye now.